Honorable Raksha Mantri, Shri Rajnath Singh Ji, Major B.K. Sharma, Director General of the oldest think tank of India, I think it's the oldest in Asia, sir. Lieutenant General Raj Shukla, the author, the cynosure of today's event, former chiefs, distinguished officers, veterans, members of the services fraternity, people in uniform, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to all of you. Civil military fusion, as I had read it, was a term which I thought was originated by the Chinese Communist Party to transform PLA into a world-class military, and that's what I think Raj was also mentioning. There are various kind of phrases which have been used in today's context talking about civil military fusion, whether you call it civil military integration, civil military cooperation, civil military synergy. So the various terms, and also it has been used sometimes in a sequences being changed, as General Upendra Dwivedi would like to call it. It's a military civil fusion rather than civil military fusion. It depends on who's leading this change, the military leading the change or the civil is leading the change. In India too, there have been large number of efforts about this particular fusion. General Shukla has now put it across in his latest well-researched book. My compliments to him for this. Let me try and explain to you civil military fusion in very, very simple terms. When the government appointed me as the CDS, one of my primary job was to create jointness and integration among the three services. It's a very difficult task, but essential, I think. Civil military fusion is about jointness and integration at the national level. It's even more difficult, but even more essential. And that's what Raj Shukla has brought out in his book. I must say that it's not that India has not made some efforts toward this. In fact, in the recently held Combined Commanders Conference, the political leadership gave us some directions in which they asked the military to take lead in some of those initiatives where we can integrate. And some of them I may mention toward the later part of my talk. So as General Raj Shukla has put it, civil military fusion entails convergence of all the arrows in the quiver of nation statecraft, the military, the scientific community, the industry, academia, and the entrepreneurial ecosystem in the resolute pursuit of national security and technological sovereignty. Our uniformed services, the military, paramilitary, and the CAPF, along with diplomacy, science, research and development, public and private sector, startups, the commercial space ecosystem, academia, the thought leadership, must all come together in a fused enterprise. Only such a fusion can enhance our economic productivity, accelerate technological progress, and strengthen our strategic and military heft. It's all well known that the combined efforts always produce more energy than the simple sum of these products in an individual kind of constituent manner. And this is not rocket science, it's been told to us right from our Vedic times. Raj Shukla, it's always difficult to speak actually after the author, and Chief has also spoken and given some ideas about it. Raj has actually spoken about how civil military fusion is being practiced, say in China, in Israel, and how the US is attempting to follow it. Let me give you some basic examples in what little manner we are attempting this as baby steps and nascent steps towards it. You know, when I'm talking about civil military relationship or civil military fusion, we're also looking at from the civilian side what the government expects. So it's the government's aim that basically should be to provide socio-economic development of our people, eradication of poverty, development of infrastructure, providing employment, etc. Besides, of course, this can't happen unless there is a secure environment. This will all happen when there is a secure environment, which of course is the later part, that military part of it. And armed forces are aligned and they're contributing towards it. When we talk about socio-political initiatives, we have initiatives like Nari Shakti, Swachh Bharat, Amrit Sarovar, Ek Ped, Maa Ke Naam. We have development projects like Skill India, Digital India, Make in India, National Solar Mission, Gati Shakti, Vibrant Villages, national building programs like Atmanirbharta, Make in India, Sagar, that's Mahasagar, now Act East. Armed forces have been doing this in bits and parts and fits and starts, I would say, for quite some time. But now there is a more focused and organized approach towards it. And one of the reasons behind it is, I think, the creation of this post of this Department of Military Affairs and creating the secretary This particular gap which was there between the political authority and the military, that has been bridged by this particular appointment, Secretary DMA. And now, as Secretary DMA, one would be privy to, say, Council of Ministers meeting, number of parliamentary committees. We recently held one consultative committee of the parliament. So you can understand what the civilian side requires or demands from the military. Of course, the other important part on which the today's talk was, the today's book is about the military part of it, how to develop a military's capabilities. The military dimension is important, and it is important because this civil development which we just spoke about can only be possible once there is a secure environment in the country. So a number of initiatives for this particular fusion have also been taken or in vogue. First would be, say, like in defense R&D, I think there is a necessity to fuse the policymakers and the innovators together. And some small examples or nation stem toward this is in the initiative like IDEX programs. Similarly, I think in the area of defense manufacturing, there has to be a fusion of the government and the industry. We need to create a level playing field for the private industry and help the private and public sector. They should work together. We should have MSMEs and startups to collaborate. They all should be working towards national security. And towards this end, at least as Secretary DMA or say CDS, I have made a couple of initiatives like when we started Future Warfare course, this particular courses are open to the academia, this is open to the young startups and industry people. We have a number of national technology missions. The government has announced whether they are in autonomous systems, quantum technologies, semiconductors, artificial intelligence. They all must be integrated together. And again, in this recently held Combined Commanders Conference, it was felt that in these national technology missions, there is a necessity or the importance of integrating the military officers as part of it. So shortly, we'll have in most of these national technology missions, armed forces officers as part of it. Similarly, is the case of infrastructure development. We have to think how can we fuse initiatives like Gati Shakti, Vibrant Village Program, and the Border Roads Organizations. We can do it by developing dual-use roads, tunnels, airstrips, communication networks. Infrastructure serving national development is also strengthening border security and military mobility. So this all goes hand in hand. Another important arena where we can take an example of civil-military fusion in India could be resource sharing. We can do this by integrating the civil and defense assets for mutual benefits. Two good examples which come to my mind are first is joint user airfields. Indian Air Force and the civil aviation share runways, airspace, and logistic infrastructure at bases like Leh, Srinagar, Pune, Agra. Development of greenfield airfields needs an investment of almost about 1,500 to 2,000 crores. This can be saved by using this joint user airfield concept. And of course, this particular travel mission of India that everyone should be able to fly, the UDAN mission, that's got a boost because of joint user airfields. A similar kind of initiative which the Indian Air Force had taken was flexi use of airspace, in which it enables shared and coordinated access between civil aviation and the armed forces through dynamic release of restricted military airspace, which is largely centered around central India, that is in the area of Gwalior for civilian flights. And this has led to a huge saving because civil flights can use that particular corridor to make people, everyone actually, to reach faster to the destinations and at a lesser cost and lesser CO2 emissions. That's almost about 54,000 tons of CO2 emissions have been saved in this manner in the past 3 or 4 years. So Raj Shukla, Percepts chief has spoken about it. Raj Shukla has spoken about it himself actually. So there's nothing really much for me to add in this particular comments of mine. I would say that what Raj has essentially said is he's actually emphasized something to do about old civilizational wisdom, which advocates the convergence of robust intermingling of the tenets of Saraswati, which is the temple of learning, Lakshmi, that centers of wealth creation, and Durga, which should remain as an instrument of national power. Raj Shukla, he's of course spoken about all those statistics about China and various kind of initiatives. There's no need for me to repeat that. I could only say that this book on civil-military fusion is timely and it's an insightful contribution to the national discourse. It unveils the challenges before us, analyzes global best practices, and attempts to seek a possible roadmap for India. It deserves a serious and critical read, not only because it is intellectually rigorous, but because it addresses one of India's most urgent strategic imperatives. I congratulate the author for his scholarly and strategic contribution and commend the book to one and all. May it inspire new thoughts, foster deep collaboration, and ignite a national vision for the fusion of our civil and military strengths. Thank you and happy reading. Jai Hind.